Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You study in a high school, which uses a system of battles between creatures summoned by the students to rank them. We are in the anime, Baka to Test. Episodes 1, 2 and 3. Fumizuki Academy is a renowned school due to its peculiar teaching method. At this very moment, several students are taking a classification exam, and from their results in the test, they will be divided into 6 classes, ranging from Class A to F, where prodigies are in Class A and failures in Class F. The college is renowned for its student battle system, where students summon their creatures to battle other students through their grades in each subject. During the evaluation, one of the students, Mizuki Himeji, ends up getting sick, and her colleague, Akihisa Yoshii, tried to help her without caring about the consequences. The young man asks the teacher who is giving the test for help, but he is only warned that he will suffer the consequences for disobeying the rules of the exam. On the day the protagonist is going to receive his grade, he is surprised by Professor Nishimura, better known by the students as Iron Man. The teacher tells Yoshii that his perception of the young man is that maybe he was an idiot, but after the results, he is sure that the student is a complete idiot, because from that moment on he was in Class F. The first day of school arrives for the new students of the Fumizuki Academy. The useless young man walks through the school corridors observing the classes around him. He realizes that the Class A room is special for offering several benefits to its students, such as private notebooks, an exclusive snack bar, and all necessary comfort. However, when Yoshii enters his classroom, he realizes that his reality will be quite different from what he saw before. His place of study is totally deteriorated, without chairs, with broken windows and fragile tables. Teacher Fukuhara, in charge of Class F, tells his students that he will talk to the management about the broken desks, but for now the students themselves could fix their desks with glue. While the protagonist repairs his desk, he realizes that his childhood friend, Yuji Sakamoto, is also in the same room. Besides him, his friends, Minami Shimada, Kutra Sachiya and Hideyoshi Kinoshita are also part of Class F. The protagonist talks to his friends about the precarious situation in the room and tells them that only the most idiotic and strange students are in that class. At that same moment, everyone is surprised by Mizuki Himeji. The kind and sweet girl ended up being placed in the worst class in the school. She talks to her classmates and says that she is still recovering from her health problem. However, Yoshii realizes that that room does not have the necessary conditions for her friend, and if she did not take action, she could get worse over time. The protagonist has a private conversation with Sakamoto about the precarious conditions of the room and says that this is unfair to the students, but his friend realizes that Yoshii is only concerned about Himeji's health, so they both decide to make a decision. In front of the whole room, Sakamoto, as class representative, states that he intends to start an academic war of invocations. It is a battle between students who, under the supervision of a teacher, use their summoned beings that have attack skills based on the grade of each school subject. In the case of a class war, if one class beats another of a higher level, it is entitled to take the facilities of the loser. Sakamoto, in a motivational speech, tells his classmates that they are all the worst students in the school. They are treated like garbage and nobody cares about them, meaning they would lose nothing by getting into a confrontation against another class. The class representative also tells his classmates that they have a secret weapon. He reveals that Yoshii holds the title of punishment inspector. This appointment is only given to a few students who not only have poor grades but are also lacking in academic skills. So Sakamoto tells his classmates that their opponents will be the students of Class E, and without wasting time, appoints his idiot friend as representative of Class F. His first mission will be to go to the rival class and warn them about the war. Yoshii is wary of the idea as it could end up being received by opponents in an unfriendly way, but he is comforted by his representative who says nothing bad can happen. The first day of school ends and the protagonist returns to his class after giving the war warning. The young man is full of marks on his body due to the beatings he took from Class E. However, Sakamoto says that this was for the greater good. After all, his motivation is entirely to help Himeji. The next day, Class F is drawing up a plan to start the fight. The representative intends to capture Professor Hasegawa, responsible for the mathematics subject. They have Minami as the main fighter. After all, the girl is very good at this subject and could give advantage to the whole class. The recess bell rings and the misfit students capture the math teacher. Class E, on the other hand, does not intend to lose the battle to the most idiotic students in the school, so the opponents meet in the hallway to start the duel. The battlefield is cleared by Professor Hasegawa. Quickly, Minami, Hideyoshi and Sachiya conjure their beings. Minami's summoner has a sword for a weapon. With exactly 89 points of strength in math, then Sachiya's being is released. Wearing the clothes of a ninja and carrying a camera, the small creature has 25 points. Finally, Hideyoshi summons his avatar, holding a spear in his hands, with 76 strength points. E-class battler Yoshiko Mikami also performs her summoning. which relied on a spellbook as its main weapon. Her avatar has 81 strength points. The confrontation begins between the summoned beings. Yoshiko releases the powers that exist in her book. Meanwhile, Tsuchiya defends himself from the attack using his camera as a defense. Then, the colleagues change positions and now Minami takes the lead in the battle. She uses her quick attack by making several cuts towards her opponent, causing the opponent's points to reach 0. When the points of a being are zeroed, the student ends up being taken by the Iron Man to receive supplementary classes indefinitely. This ends up causing a terror in all students. The class battle continues in full swing. Meanwhile, Yoshii asks his friend what the next plan is, but Yuji replies that there is no strategy and that at that point they should just wait for the defense line to hold as long as possible. Minami, realizing that her strength points were already very low, decides to leave the front line for a moment to take a recovery exam in order to increase her points again. There, the girl meets Himeji, who was also taking the test. After all, the girl still did not have a grade for the subjects, as she ended up having her classification test cancelled. Back in the battle, the F class is completely annihilated by the attack power of the E class, leaving only Yoshii and his friend Yuji. Himori, the Class E representative, challenges her rival to a battle between representatives, but the young man denies it, saying they still had a secret weapon. At that moment, Yoshii understands that it is his time to fight. Willing to defend his class, he summons his avatar, which carries a wooden sword. In addition, he carries the title of Inspector of Punishment. With this, his summoner can move physical objects to help the teachers. However, the protagonist receives directly in his body any damage suffered by his avatar. Yoshiko ends up fumbling during the confrontation. In an indirect way, he only delays the end of the battle. That's all Yuji wanted, to gain enough time for Himeji to take the recovery test. The girl managed to answer a monstrous number of questions in a short time. After all, the recovery exam has infinite questions, only the time is settled. In this way, the girl finally enters the battle, summoning her avatar. Everyone is impressed because it had 412 strength points, a qualifying grade for A-class students. The prodigy girl single-handedly eliminates all E-class summons, her avatar possessing a giant sword capable of delivering strong and swift blows in a short period of time. Because of Himeji's immense power, Class F is officially declared the winner of the class battle. At the end of the day, the protagonist celebrates the victory, but his joy is interrupted after Yuji declares that they would not change rooms with their opponents. The representative of Class F tells his friends that it is not yet the right time to make the exchange, and therefore, they should remain for a while in the same room. At that same moment, Kinoshita Yuko, the ambassador of Class A, declares war against Class F, she being Hideyoshi's twin sister. The girl says that her class will not make it easy in battle and that very soon they will find out why this new war has started. The next day, the class of underachievers is talking about the desks in the room. Yoshii again questions his representative about why they didn't switch places with Class E. Yuji replies to him that there wouldn't be much a change in the environment by switching classes at that time. Due to this, he explains that it will be better to switch rooms with Class A. After all, they have been challenged to an upcoming battle. Excited about the facilities that could be theirs in the future, the group of friends decided to go to Class A to take a walk and admire all the benefits that those students had in their daily lives. Upon arriving at the scene, Yoshii doesn't take long to attack the food machine. Meanwhile, the A-class ambassador, Yuko, appears before them, questioning them about what they were doing wandering around. Yuji, as a representative, replies that he has a proposal to make to his opponents. The young man wishes to end the battle between classes, and hold only a duel between representatives. Yuko finds this proposal absurd and quickly denies it, but at that moment, the representative of Class A appears, Shoko Kirishima, the girl who was at the top of the school ranking with the highest grades. The leader of Class A says she accepts Yuji's proposal, but puts a condition, that the loser must fulfill an absolute wish of the winner. Furthermore, Yuko contradicts the given proposal and states that the war should take place with 5 battles to decide the winner. Yuji agrees with the new change, but replies that it will be up to them to choose which disciplines will be used in combat. This way, everyone comes to an agreement and the negotiations finally end. On the top floor of the high school, the group of friends are deep in thought. They talk about how they will win this new battle, but Yuji comforts them, saying that they will win, just like they won against Class E in this new challenge. The F class needs to win 3 out of 5 battles to gain the benefits of the A class. While chatting, Minami is surprised by her friend, Shimizu Miharu, a Class D student. She has had a strong affection for her colleagues since childhood and for this reason always shows how much she likes her everywhere. Yoshii, observing that scene, ends up making sarcastic comments about his friend. With that, the weak young man gets beaten up by the 2 girls, who refuse to listen to the young man's idiocy. Later, after recovering from the blows he took, the protagonist finds Himeji alone in the room. Yoshii understands that his colleague was writing a love letter and quickly reasons that it was a declaration to his friend, Yuji. Even with his hasty thinking, Yoshii asks her friend about the young man she was possibly in love with, and Himeji replies that he is a gentle, kind and very funny young man. The protagonist, after hearing this, tells her that he hopes his friend will receive a positive response from his beloved. Yoshii leaves the classroom and spots Yuji in the hallway. The young man says he doesn't want to talk and quickly runs out of the place with the classroom table clutched in his hands. The next day, the representatives of each class come face to face to start the duel. A real battle was about to begin, a confrontation between the elite and the failures. The first battle takes place between Yuko and Minami. The F-class girl chooses to fight on the math field, there she would have a good points advantage. The two girls summon their avatars. Minami has 182 strength points and with that she is confident of her victory. But her expectations soon go away, when she realizes that her opponent has 376 strength points. So with just one blow the representative of Class F is defeated, bringing the first victory to Class A. The second round is announced. Sato Miho represents Class A in this fight, while her opponent will be Yoshii, who was specially chosen by Yuji. The protagonist enters the battlefield confident and encouraged, but is defeated within seconds. He challenges Yuji for having trusted him so much, but the F-class leader replies that he really believed in his friend, but had no faith that he would win. Thus, the third round is declared. The battle will take place between Kudo Aiko, representing Class A, versus Sachiya of Class F. The young man then chooses the subject of physical education to battle. His opponent then summons her avatar, which has a huge one-handed axe carrying 446 strength points. She claims that she was not very good in practical classes, but had great grades in theoretical tests, totally unlike Sachiya. The girl wastes no time and quickly advances towards her opponent ready to strike him, but the young man uses his speed boost ability. In this way, he unleashes a powerful and swift attack that defeats his enemy with just one blow, revealing to everyone that he possessed 576 strength points. After the victory decreed, the F-class vibrates with excitement with their first conquest in the battle. The fourth round is announced. The battle will take place between Himeji and the A-grade student, Kubo Toshimitsu. Yuji reveals that this young man has the second highest grades in the entire school and will be the toughest opponent to face. Himeji then chooses general knowledge as her battleground. Kubo leaves everyone around him stunned by revealing that his strength is 3,997. The prodigy girl then conjures her avatar and demonstrates to everyone that her strength is 4,409. And so an intense battle takes place between the two opponents. The A-class young man uses his two scythes to perform quick, slashing attacks, while Himeji uses her powerful sword to defend herself and attack at all times. Encouraged by her friends and her will to win, the girl unleashes a powerful spinning attack that eliminates her opponent in the same instant. Thus, all of Class F celebrate another victory. At this point, they were tied and the last round would decide which class would be the winner. In the last battle, Yuji, Class F decided to enter the field and will fight against Shoko, Class A. However, the young man surprises everyone, stating that the final round would not be decided with a battle between beings, but with a simple quiz. He asks them both to take a test on Japanese history, using questions from elementary school, where the maximum mark would be 100 points. Therefore, the two are ordered to go to the classroom to take the exam. However, this was in Yuji's strategy. He was confident that the test would fall on a question referring to the Taika reform, which occurred in the year 645, but Shoko has in her mind that this event occurred in the year 625. The student representing Class F has this issue as his secret weapon. After all, it was he himself who taught Shoko the wrong way when they were still children. During the test, the representative of the underachievers realizes that this question is within the exam, and because it is about elementary school questions, the slightest slip on the part of his adversary would guarantee victory for him and his colleagues. At the end of the day, everyone waits anxiously for the result. The first to have her grade released as Shoko, who reached 97 points in the test. The girl actually missed the question Yuji had in mind. Class A is traumatized by the result, as their representative did not get all the questions right, while Class F is happily celebrating their possible victory in the battle. Then Yuji's result is declared. The young man achieved a measly 53 points in the exam. Class F has lost the war. After this battle between classes, the small wooden tables of Class F were replaced by orange boxes. The next day, Yoshii was obliged to take his two friends to the movies. The young man finds himself hopeless at having to spend the money he had saved for so long. He would have to spend it on tickets, soda and popcorn. In the same place, Yuji was also going through the same situation. After all, due to the agreement made in the battle between classes, the loser should obey an order from the winner, and for this reason he was being forced to watch 6 hours of movie next to the representative of Class A. After having his savings annihilated, the protagonist finds himself in a complicated situation. He lives alone in his house, while his parents work in another country and his sister also studies abroad. The young man is in such a critical situation that he shares a packet of instant noodles between breakfast and dinner. Yoshii then goes on his way to his school. On the way he bumps into the student Kubo from Class A. With that, a slice of bread ends up falling on the floor. The weak young man wastes no time and asks his opponent if he could eat that bread. Kubo is embarrassed and leaves without giving any answer. At that moment Yoshii advances on the bread to guarantee his breakfast, but it was too late. A teacher who passed by the place ended up stepping on the slice, leaving the protagonist frustrated for having lost it. In high school, Yuji confronts his friend about his financial situation, telling him to sell his own games and manga to get money to buy food, but the protagonist refuses the idea, stating that those things are his valuable treasures and he could not sell them. In the classroom, Yoshii still confronts his representative after he denied to move to Class E. The current situation of his classroom just got worse after the battle. However, Himeji speaks that Yuji is not to blame for that. At that moment the protagonist remembers that her friend is in love with Yuji, but that was no longer making sense. After all, it is Shoko who likes the young man, so Himeji's great love still remains unknown. The signal for the beginning of classes rings and everyone in Class F is surprised by the arrival of the fearsome Iron Man. The teacher explains that from that moment on he will be in charge of teaching the students of that class, and the students are terrified by the new news. Later, the group of friends thinks again about the precarious conditions they are living in. Yoshii thinks about declaring another war again, but his friend replies that it will not be possible. In the battle rules, the losing room must wait up to 3 months to declare war against another class. At that moment, Himeji and Minami tell the protagonist that they want to go out again. The idiot young man disputes them, saying that they have already been to the cinema, but they say that it has already passed and so he should keep his promise. The next day, the three meet again. Yoshii, when analyzing the whole situation in which he was involved, realizes that this was in date, and that at some point he could take advantage of it. The girls tell him that this time they want to go to the movies, and after that, eat crepe. The young man knows that the rest of his savings will be gone for good after that day. He no longer had money to buy his own food, as he even shared a packet of instant noodles several times, believing that this would make the food become infinite. At the cinema, the trio of friends again finds Yuji being forced to watch another movie alongside Shoko. The Class A student decides to watch a 7-hour movie twice, totaling 14 hours alongside her beloved, and if Yuji tries to escape, she uses her electric taser to immobilize him. After having spent some of their money at the movies, the trio of friends are now eating crepe, but only Himeji and Minami, because Yoshii no longer had the money to buy one for himself, but he didn't let the girls know that. Observing the situation, they offer some of the crepe to the young man, and when the idiot young man thought he would get along, everyone is surprised by the sudden arrival of Miharu. Minami's friend is extremely jealous of the girl and threatens Yoshii with several sharp forks. The protagonist runs out of the place for fear of what the girl could do to him. On the way, while carrying his pieces of crepe, he ends up bumping into Kubo again. The young man loses his food again and continues running to save himself. Further on, Yoshii meets Hideyoshi, who was passing by on the way, and together they hide behind some bushes. Hideyoshi tells his friend that he has some disguises he just bought. If he wore that, maybe he could get out of this bizarre situation. The two then wear the clothes and realize that there was a mistake at the time of purchase, as they were women's suits. Miharu finally finds them. The girl is in a rage at seeing that scene, saying that Yoshii is more immoral than she thought he was. The girl's anger only increased when faced with that. The trio of friends then run from the scene, with Miharu following them at full speed. At that moment, Himeji has a brilliant idea and tells them to run to the school. Even though it's not a school day, the three students enter the school and find their history teacher. They immediately ask her to clear a field for the battle so they could confront the stalker. Miharu finds them and realizes that she will have to fight to complete her goal, so the summoning beings are summoned and quickly enter battle. The Class D student surprises her opponents by attacking Minami directly. Himeji counters with a blow that also eliminates her opponent. In this way, the two girls have their strength points zeroed, and so the Iron Man takes them to take supplementary classes. Upon arriving at the place, the teacher asks Yoshii if the young man has finally discovered himself. Upon hearing this, the protagonist becomes thoughtful, but soon understands what his teacher meant, becoming totally embarrassed, and somehow tries to say that this was a mistake. Later, Yoshii talks to Himeji. The girl tells him that she had a great time with her classmate. At that moment, She reveals that Yuji told her the real reason why Class F declared war against Class E. The protagonist then asks her about the letter she was writing all this time, and she replies that it was a chain letter, which should have been delivered in 3 days, otherwise it would bring bad luck to her, but that deadline has passed and she intends to deliver the letter when the time is right and she feels confident. What challenges will the class of underachievers still face? Will they one day beat Class A? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.